When it comes to differentiating your business, when it comes to helping people understand why they choose you as opposed to someone like you, particularly in a crowded market, how you communicate your difference is one of the ways that you're going to be able to get different results. Because in a sea of sameness, customers are asking why you and not them, why you and not them, why you and not them. And if you're not clear on the why you and not them, then it's unlikely for them to be clear on why they're going to make that decision too. From studying thousands and thousands of business, working inside hundreds of organizations, I've learned that there are really just 4 main ways that businesses choose to sharpen up their area of differentiation. What are those 4 ways, and how can we learn from those 4 ways, and how, more importantly, can you start to be able to sharpen your edge so that you can start to stand out in a crowded market? The first of those ways is their service, the experience that they provide for their customers. If it's not experience, then it's their process. It's how they do what they do. If it's not their process, it's their purpose, i.e. the reason that they do what they do becomes a differentiator. And if it's not their experience or their process or their purpose, then it's their price. It's how they talk about the money. Let's look at these one at a time and see what we can learn. Let's look at experience. Think for yourself right now. Who is a business that defines the way that they do things through the experience that they create for their customers? One example I hear regularly on this is businesses like Disney. Disney, arguably, is the happiest place on earth. It provides magical experiences for everybody it comes into contact with. It's in the happiness and the delight business, and it is hyper-focused on how it can create magical experiences for others. This is easy for us to look for those high levels of experiential service excellence as a differentiator. But what about in a highly competitive business? What about in something as simple as like the coffee business? Here in the northeast of America, where we're filming here today, there are 2 major brands that fight for market share inside the coffee business. And one is the multinational chain of Starbucks, and the other is the business of Dunkin'. They're both in the business of selling coffee. They're both in the business of selling coffee for somewhere around the same kind of price. Yet they have a remarkably different experience. See, when you order coffee at Starbucks, then what happens is the barista would like to know your name. They ask you how you would like to have your coffee. They give you a number of options and choices to the experience. It often smells good. There's a community engagement board for you to have an understanding of what else is going on. It is designed to have a familiarity feeling of an experiential community. Inside of Starbucks, they have comfortable seating that says you can stay here a while. They have plugs and outlets and Wi-Fi connection for you to be able to enjoy an experience. To Starbucks, coffee is to be savored, coffee is to be loved, coffee is something you should enjoy with friends. And Dunkin' by alternative that sell coffee for the exact same price there or thereabouts. To them, they have a very different experience. To them, they run a slogan that says, America runs on Dunkin'. So to Dunkin', coffee isn't to be savored. Coffee is fuel. Coffee is something you need. Coffee is something that keeps you going. Coffee is something that makes you work harder. So to them, their experience isn't stay a while. The experience is grab your coffee, get the heck out of here. You've got places to be. You've got somewhere to go. Something needs to happen. So give understanding to the fact that although those 2 businesses are in the business of selling coffee, they're delivering demonstrably different experiences. How are you defining an experience to show that you are right for a particular type of person so they understand why you as opposed to the other guys? What about process? Who builds big businesses around the process, the how they do what they do? If I think again here for examples, is the big one that jumps to my mind is obviously Amazon. Amazon aren't in the business of selling anything. They're in the business of selling everything. It blows my mind still that I think it was in the 80s or the early 90s where they actually patented the terminology one click to buy before the technology was even possible to be delivered upon. That's how committed they are to create a seamless process that it's easy to do business with. As we sit here today thinking about how efficient Amazon is on how they do what they do, is I could order something today and it would likely beat me home. Wow. What happens if it doesn't arrive? Well, I tell them and they send another one. What happens if I would like my delivery on a certain day at a certain time? Chances are they can fix that too. Their process of doing business with them is somewhere near effortless. They make it so easy for you to subscribe and order again, and they are permanently looking to refine that process of being easy to do business with. And when you give consideration to other fast growth, big brands, like the rideshare apps like Lyft and Uber, they didn't invent anything new. They stole market share because the way in which they did things was demonstrably different. See, Uber didn't invent the idea of traveling by motor car to get from A to B, nor did they invent the idea of somebody else driving you in their own car. What they did is they created a process that connected the person and the problem in a way that nobody else had connected before and made it insanely easy for the consumer. See, big businesses aren't built by big business owners. Big businesses are built by listening to the consumers. Consumers make markets. You cannot outmarket the market, but what you can do is listen to the market and say, can I create a better way of helping X achieve Y? And there are businesses everywhere that have made that their differentiator. It's not what they do, it's how they do it. That's what creates better outcomes for consumers. That's what steals market share. So think about your experiences, think about your processes, the how you do what you do. And then third, I touched on this area of purpose, the why behind the what. One of the simplest examples we can look at here is Tom's Shoes. Tom's Shoes have had a really simple mission and purpose since the day that they started. And the way that they execute on that mission is if you buy a pair of shoes from Tom's Shoes, they will buy a pair of shoes for somebody who hasn't got shoes. Do you think that could help somebody in a 50-50 gateway decision? If they're in a shoe store looking at two pairs of sandals and say, do I buy these or do I buy these? And if I buy these, I get a nice pair of sandals. And if I buy these, I get a nice pair of sandals and somebody who's got no shoes gets shoes. Could that mean that the pendulum swings this way as opposed to this way? For sure it could. Does that mean that you can attract more of the right kind of people towards your brand if there's an alignment that sits in line with their why and your why? Like philanthropy can be a strategy, providing you mean it and it's not a cheap trick. If there is some form of mission that your business can allow you to do that is greater than what your business actually does, can you align those things to mean that you are not trying to be able to profit from this so that you can pour money into this, is that you're profiting from this directly helps support the cause that is important for you. So can you align to purpose and build your differentiator around the why? And then finally, there's price. When I say you can build your differentiator around your price, it doesn't necessarily mean you're the cheapest. Think of brands like Walmart, these big superstores. They never said they were the cheapest. They're just insanely proud of their price. If they put a poster in the window of maybe Heinz ketchup and they put a number next to it and a dollar amount next to it, and it's like $3, you're like, that must be great value for money. I have no idea how that price point compares to other people that are selling the same product in other stores locally. I just know that they are so proud of that price that we are convinced that it's good value for money. Other businesses that build their differentiator around price are businesses like Costco or Sam's Clubs, like these big box stores. Because what they don't do is they don't say they're the cheapest. What they say is, shh, don't tell anybody. But if you join our special club, our special membership club, then you'll get access to some insider wholesale pricing. And we're like, that sounds amazing. I get to get special wholesale pricing that I wouldn't have got if I went to regular stores. And our inward belief is that we are getting tremendous value for money because of the way that that pricing has been positioned. That's why you, or at least somebody you know, decided that buying 48 rolls of toilet paper was a great idea. That's why at least one person that you know has a vat of tomato ketchup that's this big and has no idea whether it's well priced or not. They just felt smart in the moment being able to purchase something they know they're going to consume a lot of over a period of time because of the pricing strategy and the pricing that is being positioned as a differentiator. And there are also businesses out there that build their differentiator around pricing by being the most expensive option. Think about brands like Patek Philippe, the watch brand. They say things like, you'll never actually own a Patek Philippe. You'll merely look after it for a future generation. What are they doing? They're saying this is expensive and here's why. The reason that you are failing to differentiate yourself within your marketplace is because your edges aren't sharp enough. Those 4 ways are tools that you can use to get super sharp on communicating why somebody should choose you over somebody else. And the trick is to not just use one of them, but think about how one of them leads and the other 3 follow. So if you're looking to cause damage with an arrow, it needs two things. It needs a sharp tip and it needs plenty of weight. So pick one of these as your sharp tip. Pick the other three to say, well, these are the weight that come behind it. And when you're building your differentiator story, you're building your value proposition, you're building your message as to why you should win more than your fair share in your market. Think about how well am I describing the experience our customers get so that it's attractive to the right kind of people? How well are you defining that experience? Then look at what can you be doing to differentiate your process, your how, so that what can happen is that people can see increased value in your how, increased desire in your how, because it makes their life easier. Then give consideration to your purpose. Is there a why behind your what that allows you to be able to stand head and shoulders above others in your workplace? And finally, how are you communicating your price? We cannot hide from price anymore. The prouder you are of your pricing, the easier it is for other people to see that you're worth it. And if you're not convinced that you're great value for money, then please don't expect anybody else to be. So those are 4 ways that you can start to differentiate yourself in a crowded market. Go build your cocktail so your story is unique enough, true enough, full of sharp edges, so other people can realize why you're the number one choice for them when it matters most. Thank you. Thank you.